Hey everyone, Roy the Fiend here. First of all, thank you everybody for getting me to 300 subscribers. I really appreciate it. And as such, we've got the 300 sub special right here. It's a type tier list for Kaizo Ironmon, and specifically in Gen 3 because that's what I'm used to. And we'll be looking at all the types and how well they fare. And we'll be looking at everything from the moves, the base power, how good they are, how many good moves there are, to the types' resistances and super effective coverage. Everything all in one. We're going to sum it up and how good is it on average. So, everybody, let's get into it. Let's not waste too much time. So we're going to start with Bug. So, Bug is interesting. I like Bug types, but I don't think it's that good in terms of Kaizo Ironmon. Unfortunately, a lot of Bug Pokemon in the early gens especially are the early root Bug types that only amount to about 400 base stat total or less, and that's fine if you get huge power, but other than that you're not going to be running those guys. So there's really only a couple of bugs you want to use, and the ones I can think of right now are Fortress, Scizor, and those are like maybes because you're 4 times weak to fire. Pinsir, Shuckle surprisingly is actually the best for this challenge in terms of just raw base stat total. But anyway, so there's not too many strong bugs. How about the bug moves? So, I guess you've got like 3 or so bug moves you can use. Mega Horn, which is a really nice 120 base power, 85% accurate move. The next best thing you've got is Signal Beam, which is okay. You know, it'll get the job done, I suppose, but it's not amazing. And then Silver Wind, so-so, and what else? Like Twin Needle. At that point, you're really struggling there. So, on top of bug types not being that strong, we've also got moves that don't seem to be that phenomenal. How about resistances and super effective coverage? Well, bug types. They're good against Dark, Grass, and Psychic. Fair enough. That's not bad. But a big problem, I think, with bugs is that so many types resist them. In this gen, we're talking 6 different resists, from Fighting, Fire, Flying, Ghost, Poison, Steel. It's a lot. And there's a lot of well, there's a fair amount of quad resists with stuff like Fire, Flying, Ghost, Poison, stuff like that. So there is a lot of Pokemon that can resist bug moves as well. You do resist, however, Fighting, Grass, and Ground, which is okay. I'm not incredible because, like, I guess the strongest grass move is Solar Beam, and that's only good in Sun, and then it's Leaf Blade. Resisting Earthquake's great. Fighting is whatever. But you're weak to Fire, Flying, and Rock, which has some real hard-hitting moves, especially Fire and Flying. Honestly, I don't think Bug's that good. I do like it, but it's just got so many flaws with not a solid, reliable, strong base power move, to low BST, to a lot of resists. I think... Does it go in D tier? I do like it, but I think it might go in D tier. It's just got too many resistances to it. Yeah, no, I think it's going to go in D tier. Alright, moving on. Next up, we have Dark type. So, Dark type, it's way more, I guess, balanced than Bug type is. They do super effective damage to Ghost and Psychic, and they don't do well against Dark, Fighting, and Steel. They resist Dark and Ghost, and they're weak to Bug, Fighting, and immune to Psychic. So fairly balanced, and certainly in terms of resistances, only Dark, Fighting, and Steel resist Dark moves, which means Dark moves combo really nicely with Fighting moves. Fighting moves, yeah. You've got neutral coverage on basically everything at that point. Yeah, in terms of Dark type Pokemon, what are we looking at here? Tyranitar's banned, so you can't have Tyranitar. Honestly, I'm like struggling to think here. I'm gonna have to look at them. Oh, Umbreon, of course. Mazzy, I'm sorry. Umbreon is a very solid Dark type. What else have we got? Houndoom, decent as well. Sharpedo, Cacturne, Crawdon, they're all kind of middling. Yeah, there's honestly not that many strong Dark type Pokemon, actually. Apart from Umbreon and Houndoom, I don't think there's any usable Dark type over 500 BST. And, you know, the ones that are close to it, like Shiftry, they don't learn any moves upon level up, so that's a bit of a struggle, unfortunately. But, yeah, a lot of the Pokemon that Dark type that you want to use are kind of middle 400 BST, but that's okay. There's still a couple of high BST ones there. In terms of moves, Dark-type does not have that much, but it's got Crunch, which is a solid move, for sure. Special in Gen 3 as well. And 20% chance to lower Spadef, that's okay. Bite, 30% chance to flinch is actually really nice. It combos so nicely if you get Serene Grace as well. So that's another good move. You got Feint Attack, which is whatever, and I guess Thief. Not too many dark moves, honestly, that are that good. Got Knockoff, but that's only 20 base power in this gen. Yeah, no, that's not amazing dark moves. I guess it's a little bit better than Bug, just because you've got Crunch is a little bit better stab, and Bite has a really nice secondary effect, but it's not great. Yeah, no, it's okay. But I think, yeah, no, there's kind of a lack of Pokemon that are usable with dark types. So you got Umbreon and Houndoom, and the rest do struggle a bit. And the moves, okay, I think it's gonna be C tier. I honestly don't think I've ever had a dark type runner either, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, no, I don't think dark type's actually that good. It's okay. Is it B? It might be B tier. I think I'll keep it in C tier for now. It's okay, but it's lacking a couple of like more Pokemon that are solid. But it doesn't have that many weaknesses, right? So it's okay. It's only Bug and Bug and Fighting, right? So that's pretty good. Alright, next up we've got Dragon type. Now Dragon is a really interesting type. There's only a handful of Pokemon with the Dragon type, so the usable ones are Altaria, Flygon, Kingdra, and then if you luckily evolve a Flying type into, or Dragon type into a Dragonite or Salamence, you're allowed to use them. But there's really not that many Dragon type Pokemon you can use. But Dragon types are pretty good in terms of base stat total. I had an Altaria run that had really nice stats, really nice moves, and they have nice resistances. They resist Fire, Grass, Water, and Electric. Really solid. And they're weak to Dragon and Ice, which aren't too common. Like the Dragon moves are Dragon Claw, Outrage, Dragon Breath. Ice moves are Blizzard, Ice Beam, Aurora Beam. And then some weaker ones. I mean, the problem with Dragon types is that a lot of them are quad weak to Ice moves, because a lot of them are Dragon Flying or Ground Flying. But Dragon typing is really nice defensively, I'd say. Just watch out for Ice moves, unless you're Kingdra. If you're Kingdra, you're completely fine, because you're only 2 times weak to Dragon. Kingdra has a really good defensive typing with Dragon and Water combined. The other Dragons, strong, but you gotta watch out for Ice moves. In terms of their moves, we already went over them. Dragon Claw is the best one. Outrage can be okay, just be careful when you use it. My Altaria died to an Outrage, or it used Outrage, and then I got Destiny Bonded on. But Dragon is super effective against Dragon only, and it's only resisted by Steel. So this move, or Dragon typing, has barely any resistances to it. And all the Steel types, there's not a Steel Ghost in Gen 3, so you can go Dragon Fighting coverage for neutral coverage. Or maybe something better would be Dragon Fire, actually, because Dragon and Fire are both special in Gen 3. So it's a pretty nice neutral move that only needs another type Fire in this case to kind of be able to hit everything basically for neutral damage. Yeah, no, I think Dragon's really good. Just for like neutral stab. Is it A tier? I think it might be A tier. Is it A tier? I think I'm gonna put A tier only because most of the dragons, apart from Kingdra, are 4 times weak to ice. So if you've got a dragon runner, you're probably incredibly scared of ice types at all times. So A tier, solid type, very good. If you get Kingdra, you're popping off. Whenever I get Kingdra, it's been bad, but that's just me. But yeah, no, pretty good. Alright, next up is electric types. Now, electric types are really interesting because they only have 1 weakness to ground, and this basically means if you have an electric type and you have Levitate, you've got no weaknesses. Commonly, whenever I run into an electric type, I'm always hoping it has Levitate, but never does. But if you get it, you're popping off. Only 1 weakness, that's great. Electric types do super effective damage to flying and water only, so that's okay. You slay Gyarados, you slay Pelipper, There's a lot of water and flying types in the game, to be fair, so that's not bad. It's just only 2 types super effective, so it's not crazy. And Dragon, Electric, and Grass. Resist with ground being immune, so that's something to keep in mind of. I mean, most Dragon types are taking neutral damage from Electric anyway, but there's a fair amount of Electric, Grass, and ground types in the game. And ground types are like the bane of your existence. Also, even though you're only weak to ground moves, there are some really scary ground moves out there, such as Earthquake. Magnitude, if you get unlucky, Magnitude 9 or 10, I think, are stronger than Earthquake. And, you know, that's those 2 moves could be a run-ender. But, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, only being weak to 1 type. And even though ground's a strong offensive type, it's only 1 type at the end of the day, with only a couple of moves to worry about, so not too bad. The moves, so Electric type's got a couple of decent moves. You got Thunderbolt, all reliable. Thunder is good if you've got the rain. If you have a Drizzle Pokemon with Thunder, you're popping off. Or if you fight a Pokemon with Drizzle, then you're popping off as well. Spark's okay, Thunder Punch is decent, Shockwave is so-so, and if you're really risky, you can Zap Cannon, but no, Zap Cannon's not that good. So it's okay, it's got a couple of moves that you can make use of. Yeah, no, it's definitely solid, and only having 1 weakness is really good, is a big point in its favor, and there are a couple of decent BST Pokemon with, or high BST Pokemon that are Electric types, so we've got Jolteon. I'm going to look at the list here. Yeah, Electabuzz is about 495 BST, Electrode's 480, Raichu's 480, but it doesn't learn moves. Ampharos is like 515 base stat total. What else? Manectric's okay. Not plus or minus, sorry guys. Magneton, you kind of need to have Magneton with Levitate, but yeah, Magneton with Levitate, you're popping off. And anything else? Lantern can be okay as well. Yeah, no, it's kind of mid. But there's a couple of Electric types that are sticking around the 500 BST range. Pretty nice. Decent moves. Only 1 weakness. Resistance to Electric, Flying, and Steel. It's not bad. Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty good... Electric type's pretty good. I think you love to see it. It's got an easier potential to just have an Electric type with no weaknesses. Just needs Levitate, and you've got no weakness. So it's pretty reliable, pretty good for defensive purposes. Alright, next up we've got fighting types. So fighting types are quite interesting because they are super effective against normal, rock, ice, dark, steel. 5 whole types, that's pretty good. Offensively, you're popping off. The moves aren't great, but whatever. We'll get to that. Being super effective for normal is really nice because there are a bunch of normal types in the game. I believe they're the most common types. They're either the most or second most, so super effective coverage on that. You love to see it. That's also a point in Electric's favor, is super effective against water. Water is a really common type. Forgot about that. But yeah, so they're super effective against 5 types, but they are resisted by 5 types as well. Poison, Flying, Bug, Psychic, and Ghost. You know, Ghost isn't that common, but Poison types, there are a bunch of Poison types, fair amount of Flying types, and, you know, a handful of Bug and Psychic. So there's a fair amount of Pokemon that you'll be super effective against, and a fair amount that you'll resist. Or you'll be resisted by. So it's a mixed bag. You look for the offensive potential. Defensively, we take half damage from Bug, Dark, and Rock. So Bug, Dark, and Rock moves aren't incredible. We've already gone over Bug and Dark. Like Mega Horn, resisting Mega Horn is great if you come across it. Signal Beam, Crunch, Rock Slide, they're all 80 base power below. That's like the scariest things you gotta watch out for. So it's not the most critical of resistances, but I guess you'll take it. And you know, you have 3 resistances and only 2 weaknesses to Flying and Psychic. So Flying can be quite scary, because Flying, you do have moves like Sky Attack. If they manage to get Sky Attack off on you, you're praying to live. Drill Peck, Aeroblast. So there's a handful of Flying moves that can put a lot of pressure on you. And kind of same for Psychic as well. You've got Psycho Boost, 140 base power. That is terrifying. Extrasensory, Psychic, Psybeam, kind of. Future Sight does not do psychic damage, so you're A-okay there. But yeah, no, so your resistances are, you know, not as scary as your weaknesses, which is a bit unfortunate, but hey ho, we are a bit of an offensive Powerhouse, or so I wish, but unfortunately, fighting moves in Generation 3 aren't that great. We're talking, we got Brick Break, which is okay, 75 base power, 100% accurate. Focus Punch, which don't do that, you can just get asking to lose. Dynamic Punch, 50% accurate, you love to see it. Cross Chop, 100 base power, 80% accurate. Not great. What else? Got like Low Kick, 50 base power. Karate Chop, 50 base power. Vital Throw, 70 base power, but you go last. Like, there's not that many good fighting moves. In terms of fighting Pokemon, you got some decent ones. You got Machamp, pretty strong. You got Poliwrath, although Poliwrath knows no moves. You got kind of the mid 400 BST mons, Hitmonchan, Hitmontop, Hitmonlee. Medicham's not usable. 410 BST is like the worst of every world. Just too strong to use. Pure power and just... I'm just way too weak. Otherwise, Hariyama's okay. 474 BST. Blaziken's cool. Heracross is decent. Breloom's whatever. Yeah, the fighting type Pokemon... Like, the best one's Blaziken, obviously. And you get Stab Fire moves. And Stab Fire moves are incredible. Fire's next. You guys are gonna, you know, see just how highly I like fire types. Definitely not biased because I won with a fire type. But yeah, no, they're a bit of a mixed bag fighting types. I think they're let down a little bit by their Pokemon. And the moves. Less so the type matchups. So I think... Is it going to go B tier? I think it's going to go C tier. Is it C or B? Because like, the moves are just not good. The most reliable move... You got Sky Uppercut, I guess, too. Which is 80 base power, 90% accurate. Now, the moves just aren't that good. I think I'll put it in B tier. Or C tier, even. There's just not a solid, reliable fighting move outside of Brick Break. And Brick Break's just, like, average, you know? It's not amazing. It's not knocking anyone's socks off. So, I'll put it in C tier. Yeah. If you get Blaziken or something, you know... fire moves would be incredible. Fighting moves are nice to have as well. But, you know, Blaziken gets a big help from its fire typing, in my opinion. And something like Heracross just falls over to a gust, so... Yeah. Not great. Alright, next up we have fire type, folks. One of the starter types. Honestly, I think fire types are really good. We've got... Started off with their offensive capabilities. Super effective against Bug, Grass, Ice, and Steel. 4. Fair. Pretty good. But they are resisted by 4 as well. Dragon, Fire, Rock, and Water. There's a lot of Grass types. Not too many Ice types, and half the Ice types are Water anyway. Steel types, it's nice to hit Steel types, because, well, it's one of the only few ways to hit Skarmory super effectively. Steel types are just generally kind of annoying. And there's a lot of Bug types, so being able to just Flamethrower Fire type is great. And then, you know, resisting Dragon, Fire, Rock, and Water, that's a lot, especially with the amount of water types there are. Just, you know, just get Drought, Solar Beam, right? You'll be fine. But yeah, no, it's fire combos well with like an electric type as well. Fire, electric's decent. Fire, Dragon is really good, as we discussed with Dragon. So, you know, if you get Fire and Dragon, you're popping off. Anyway, defensively, Fire type kind of surprises me because you think Fire type, you think it's more of a Glass Cannon-y type? No, it's got 5 resistances. Bug, Fire, Grass, Ice, and Steel. Those are some decent resistances. Being able to resist fire moves is really nice. Some fire moves go crazy, like Overheat and Weather Ball in the Sun, or Eruption is really scary. Heat Wave, Fire Blast, there's a lot of strong fire moves, so being able to resist that is nice. Bug, Grass doesn't have amazing moves, so again, whatever. Ice, being able to resist Ice Beam, you love to see it. Steel, resisting Meteor Mashes, fine, cool. They are weak to ground, rock, and water moves. So, it's an interesting one here. So ground, obviously being weak to ground is really bad. As the same reason for electric type, right? Rock moves, it's, you know, again, the worst rock move is... Technically, it's Rock Blast if it hits 5 times. But Rock Slide, it's only 75 base power, so... You know, being weak to that isn't the worst thing in the world. Water type is actually quite interesting because in Kaizo Ironmon, you can't have any Pokemon learn Surf. So this means outside of Weather Ball, Hydro Pump, and Water Spout, the next best water move is Bubble Beam, 65 base power. Then Water Pulse, 60 base power. So it's quite interesting actually. For water types, and we'll go into this a bit with water types when we get there, is they've got kind of two ends of the extreme here. You've got basically two scary moves with Hydro Pump and Water Spout, and they're really scary. And then you've got moves that are like whatever, Bubble Beam, you can probably tank that. Maybe. Depends on your special defense. But no, yeah, that's an interesting weakness to have because of that. You won't come into Water Spout too common, and if you are fast fire type, you can just at the very least weaken the Pokemon, so Water Spout wouldn't be so bad. So it's not the worst thing to be worried about, but if you're like a slow fire type, you run into a Water Spout, just GG, you know? GG. Just don't be a slow fire type. But yeah, no, fire type moves are really good. You got, like I said, Eruption, incredible, 150 base power at full health. Fast fire type with Eruption, decent special attack, is incredible. Fire Blast is decent. For 120 base power, its 85% accuracy is high compared to Hydro Pump and Thunder. And Blizzard, so it's relatively nice compared to the other strong moves at that point. Flamethrower is all reliable. Heat Wave is a bit stronger than Flamethrower, a bit less accurate. It's usable. Flamethrower is preferred. And you got stuff like Fire Punch, Flame Wheel, Overheat. Yeah, it's got a decent amount of moves. I like it a lot. It combos well with Drought. Drought's a really nice ability, obviously. Increases fire type moves, lessens your water type weakness. So that's really nice. And of course, the fire type Pokemon are popping off as well. You've got the starters, so all of them are around 530 BST with Charizard, Blaziken, Typhlosion. Arcanine, 555 BST, kind of like the highest Pokemon outside of the pseudo-legendaries, if you evolve into them, that you can run with. And I did win with an Arcanine, so it's got really good stats. There's a bunch of other like fire-type Pokemon that aren't quite as good. I mean, you got Flareon, but that's really good as well. Magmar, 495 BST, and then you start to go lower and lower. But no, I think fire-type's really good. I think I'm going to put an S tier for everything we've just said. Alright, next up we have got Flying type. So, super effectively they hit Bug, Fighting, and Grass. And they are resisted by Electric, Rock, and Steel. So, what that means is Flying combos really well with ground moves. There's only a couple of Pokemon that resist Flying and Ground, and that would be like Zapdos or Aerodactyl. You know, only a couple of Pokemon between two types is really nice. So Flying, Ground, really nice type coverage. Being super effective against Bug, Fighting, Grass is okay. You know, there's some strong Grass types. You know, there's some strong Fighting types. Bugs, I mean, you're going to one-shot Heracross. Most bugs are weak, as we've said, though. Defensively, we resist the same. Electric, Bug, Fighting, and Grass again, which is... all those types are kind of whatever. Mega Horn, Cross Chop. Grass's strongest move outside of Solar Beam is Leaf Blade, 70 base power, so not that good. But, you know, F3 resist is okay. And we are, of course, immune to Ground type, which is incredible. So that's the big one there. Immune to Ground type. No Earthquake, no Magnitude, no nothing. So that's really nice. And in terms of weaknesses, we are weak to Electric, Ice, and Rock. So we're scared of Bolt Beam coverage. Electric moves are really good. If the AI lands a Thunder on you, rest in peace. Ice Beam, oh my goodness. And Rock moves, you know, we've talked about Rock moves already. They're whatever in terms of types. Still though, being weak to Electric and Ice is really bad. In terms of the Pokemon themselves though, let's have a look. What is here? We're talking Butterfree, Pidgeot, Spearow, Crobat, really strong. Poison Flying, that's a nice typing. Dodrio's okay, I had a really good Dodrio runner at one point. Farfetch'd, yeah, a meme runner, I guess. Gyarados, oh yeah, Gyarados. If you get the ability Volt Absorb with any flying type, especially with something like Gyarados, you're popping off. Makes you immune to electric type moves, and especially for Gyarados, who's 4 times weak to it. So it is nice that flying type has that rare option of being immune to electric types. Not every type, you know, can get to resistance or immunity like that through an ability, so That's appreciated. Aerodactyl's really cool. I think there's a lot of cool Aerodactyl kind of runners I've seen in the past. Yeah, no, there's a plethora of flying types. Some of them are quite weak, like Yanma, Murkrow, Gligar, Delibird. Skarmory, I had a Skarmory runner at some point too. I had a Ninjask runner at some point too. Had an Altari runner, Pelipper. Yeah, no, they're kind of all over the place in terms of BST. I quite like them though. I think they're quite solid, especially if you evolve a Golbat into a Salamence or a Dragonite or something. Really good. And in terms of moves, well, flying types they got Aeroblast, which is solid, low PP, but really good. Drill Peck, which is the gold standard. Aerial Ace, Wing Attack, which are 60 base power, but they have a lot of PP, so good for dungeons. And that's about it. You can't use Fly. And Sky Attack, you're not using Sky Attack. I mean, you are if you have to, but yeah. Also, it's a Shedinja coverage type, so that's nice. Yeah, I think I quite like it a lot. I think I'm going to put it right next to Dragon type in A tier. I really like Flying type. There's a lot of cool Flying type Pokemon. Cool resistances, some scary weaknesses, and some nice moves. Alright, next up is Ghost type, guys. My favorite type in the whole game. So, I mean, Ghost type, it's interesting. It's super effective against Ghost and Psychic, and resisted by Dark, Steel, Normal. So this basically means Ghost fighting moves combo really nice. If you've got Shadow Ball, Brick Break, I don't think anything resists that. Flying Dark, no, that wouldn't resist it. What would resist it? I'm not even sure. But, you know, it combos really well with just one other offensive type in fighting. So that's nice. Ghost resists Bug, Poison, and is immune to Normal and Fighting. Honestly, resisting Bug and Poison, well, Bug's whatever, Poison's okay. Doesn't make you immune to Poison, unfortunately, but you resist it. Being immune to Normal and Fighting is, well, Fighting is again kind of whatever. Being immune to Dynamic Punch is good, because, you know, if the AI Dynamic Punches you, you are annoyed, so never having to worry about that is good. And Normal types. There are so many Normal type moves that there just might be some Pokemon you fight against that have only Normal type moves. They might have Scratch, Pound, Thrash, and then like Howl or something, you know? Can't do anything. So Ghost types kind of have a unique situation, especially with Fighting type as well. That just gives you an extra small % chance of being immune. So, you know, it's like if you have a Ghost type with a setup move like Dragon Dance, and you know for certain a Pokemon has only normal moves, you can do as much setup as you like. So I think Ghost is quite interesting in that sense. Ghost is only weak to Dark and Ghost, so that's not too bad, because the strongest Dark move is Crunch at 80 base power, the strongest Ghost move is a Shadow Ball at 80 base power. Then Bite at 60 base power, Shadow Punch at 60 base power. So honestly, their weaknesses really aren't that bad, and only having two of them, pretty manageable. Yeah. In terms of Ghost moves, unfortunately, they're really not great. You have two Ghost moves you can use. Shadow Ball, like I just said, 80 base power, solid, whatever. Shadow Punch, 60 base power, whatever, not amazing. And then after that, you got like Lick and Astonish. Don't use those. Only keep them if you need Shedinja coverage, basically. But yeah, Ghost moves aren't great. Typing, I think, is quite good. How about the Pokemon? So we've only got a couple of Pokemon really here. We've got Gengar. Gengar solid. The shining star of Ghost types. Then you've got a couple of mid 400 BSTs in Dusclops and Banette. And anything else? I think that's it. Then you got Misdreavus at 435 BST. Then Sableye at 390 BST, I think. And Sableye is interesting because it can get huge power. But again, that's really niche. And also it has no weaknesses, so Ghost Dark is a cool type, but only Sableye has it at this point. And then you've got Shedinja, and you are not running Shedinja. So I think the Ghost type Pokemon aren't amazing outside of Gengar. It's an interesting one, and I do really like Ghost. I think Ghost has interesting potential with its resistances and setup potential, but I think I'll put it in B tier just because its Pokemon aren't great and its moves aren't great. But Shadow Ball is a solid move, like very spammable, very spammable. All right, folks, we are on to the next starter type, Grass type. Now, I'm of the strong opinion that Grass types are kind of bad. And, you know, I like a lot of grass types. Don't get it twisted now. But I think they are kind of bad. Offensively, they're good against ground, rock, and water. That's fine. That's good. Water is quite common. You got a lot of 4x super effective against Golem and Rhydon and Omastar and Swampert. You know, that's quite nice. You got a fair amount of 4x effectiveness against Pokemon. But the resistances are horrible. They're so bad. Bug, Dragon, Fire, Flying, Grass, Poison, Steel. 7 types resist. Why? Why did Game Freak make a starter type so bad offensively like this? I don't get it, because Water and Fire are great. As you'll see with Water coming up. I don't know why they make Grass so bad offensively. It really irks me. So, you know, there's just so many Pokemon that resist Grass types. On the flip side of having good super effectiveness against Water, Ground, Rock. You do resist some good types, though. You resist Electric, Grass, Ground, and Water. Those are all good types to resist. Mainly Electric, Ground, and Water, and Grass is whatever. Because Grass's strongest move, outside of Solar Beam, as I've said, is Leaf Blade. 70 base power. Who cares? Not the scariest thing ever. You are also weak against 5 types. The most, that's joint the most with Rock types, I believe. You're weak to Bug, Fire, Flying, Ice, and Poison. So Bug, you know, again, to be fair, most Grass types are neutral to Bug, but still. You're weak to Bug. Mega Horns are terrifying. Flamethrower are Fire types where you're scared of a bunch of moves like Flamethrower, Heat Wave, Fire Punch, Eruption. Flying, we've just gone over. Drill Peck, Aeroblast. Ice, oh god, Ice Beam, you're gonna die. And Poison, yeah, most Grass types are neutral to Poison, but still. Stuff like Blossom or Tropius, you're screwed. So, with that being said, the moves aren't great either. Leaf Blade's fine, but it's like, what else do you have outside of Leaf Blade? You got Petal Dance. You can't use Giga Drain, that's banned. Razor Leaf, 55 base power. It's just not good. It's just not good. There are some good Grass types like Venusaur and Sceptile and that, you know, it's a starter, they've got some good BST Pokemon. But that doesn't save it. I think it might be D tier. It just got so many resistances and so many weaknesses, like, I don't like it. I'll put it above Bug because it's got more Pokemon that are strong, but it's not great. Alright, next up we have Ground type, guys. So, Ground type, it's really good offensively. It's 2 times effective against Electric, Fire, Poison, Rock, and Steel. 5 types offensively, that's really good. And only resisted by Bug, Grass, and Flying. So, Ground Flying, well, we've already talked about this, is really good coverage. Basically hit everything neutrally aside from a couple of choice Pokemon. Offensively, or defensively, it's resisted by Poison and Rock, or Poison Rock you resist, and you are immune to Electric. So Poison and Rock is so-so to resist. Electric, though, is really nice to resist. No Thunderbolts. Also, that makes it a lot harder for you to get paralyzed. I should have said this with like Fire types as well. You can't be burned. That's a huge plus in Fire types I didn't even think about. So yeah, Fire types, even better than I put it down for. But Ground types, yes, they can still be paralyzed by things like Body Slam and Glare, but they can't be hit by Thunderbolt or Zap Cannon or Thunder Shock or Thunder Punch, Thunder Wave. They can't be Stun Spored. So you know you can still be paralyzed, but it cuts down on that a lot, which is you know, it's nice. Your weaknesses, however, are Grass, Ice, and Water. Again, it's like, those are scary types. They've got strong moves for you, especially Ice and Water. The plus side, though, is that they're all special. So the fact that all your weaknesses are special means if you've got a Ground type with, like, not great defense, but decent Speed F, that's, you know, at least you're not as scared by your weaknesses, right? They're all kind of contained on the special side. So that's nice. In terms of Ground type Pokemon, let's have a look here. Sandslash, Dugtrio, Marowak. Donphan's good. Respect. Flagon is nice, but 4 times weak to Ice. What else? Yeah, Rhydon, Golem. Oof. so weak to water and grass. Gligar's bad. Claydol's got a lot of weaknesses, but I quite like it. Need a king, need a queen. They don't really learn many moves. Quagsire's too weak. Steelix is cool. Mazzy, shout out Mazzy, one with a Steelix. Piloswine is mid. Swampert, 4 times weakness. Yeah. The ground types kind of struggle a bit here, because a lot of them have really exploitable flaws here. We're talking 4 times weaknesses. We're talking low BSTs. So they're quite exploitable. I think... yeah, no, I like ground on paper, but I think a lot of these Pokemon, if I got them, I'd have big concerns with them. You know, with their weaknesses or their base stat total or something. So it's quite interesting. Stab Earthquake's incredible. What else is good? Magnitude's okay. Dig's a bit risky, because if you dig... Shit. It's either B or C. I think I'll put it in B tier. Stab Earthquake is really good. It does combo well with flying. It's just the Pokemon let it down a bit. I think, yeah, it's probably low B tier, to be honest. But I like it a lot. I do like it. Alright guys, next up we have Ice type, notoriously considered the worst defensive typing in all of Pokemon. Is this true? We will see. So Ice type, first of all, offensively, solid. Good against Dragon, Flying, Grass, and Ground. There are a fair amount of or like the dragons, which are some of the scariest Pokemon you can go against, weak to it. A lot of them are 4 times weak to it. That's really good. Legendaries like Latios, Latias, weak to that. Groudon, you hit nicely. So it's decent, you know, decent stuff there. However, Fire, Ice, Steel, and Water resist you. So there's a fair amount of Pokemon there that will resist your attacks. Yeah, no, that's not great. And nothing's immune to you. Yeah, it's not great, because there's a lot of fire types and water type Pokemon especially. Defensively, ice types only resist ice. That's where the kind of meme comes in of how it's so bad. Yeah, the ice moves only resist ice. In my opinion, ice type should have resisted water and dragon, but that's just me. And they're weak to fighting, fire, rock, and steel. Those are some scary types to be weak to, especially fire. Meteor Mash is scary too. Cross Chop's scary too. So defensively they are horrible, and offensively they have good highs and pretty bad lows. In terms of ice type Pokemon, what are we looking at here? We're talking Glalie, king of mid, Glalie right there. We've got Jinx, BST's a bit sus. Piloswine, BST's a bit sus. Delibird's Delibird. Walrein is solid, but that's because it's water type. Lapras solid because it's water type. Cloyster solid because it's water type, but it doesn't learn moves. Dugong's like the mid version. Sneasel is shit. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think the problem with ice types is that I think for ice moves, you rather have that as a coverage move, not as your stab move. Ice coverage is really nice, but ice stab means you're an ice type. I think it's got to go in D tier, guys. Like, don't get me wrong, if you get a Walrein, like Walrein could easily be up here somewhere, you know, but or Lapras, because they are really solid with water typing. But I think that's more of a testament to how good water type is, and we'll get into that. But ice, stab Ice Beam is a killer, but you'd rather have Ice Beam as coverage, not as stab, I think. Alright, next up we have normal type, guys. Normal type, very interesting type. It's not super effective against anything, and it's resisted by rock and steel, immune by ghost. Defensively, they resist nothing. They're weak to fighting, but they are immune to ghost. So being weak to fighting is not the end of the world. Being immune to ghost, again, it's like whatever. Shadow Ball, Shadow Punch is the only 2 ghost moves anyway. It's not like you're immune to ghost status moves like Curse or something, so unfortunate. So defensively, it's not too impactful, and Rock Steel Ghost resistances and that is a bit annoying. Although if you have a fighting move and ghost move to go along with it, you're fine. So normal ground type is actually decent coverage because only a handful of Pokemon will resist that. In terms of the Pokemon themselves, normal has a plethora of Pokemon. From weak stuff like Ditto and Apom, you've got strong stuff like Ursaring, Porygon. Miltank's decent, Tauros, Snorlax and Blissey are the big ones. 540 BST and learn a lot of moves. Honestly, I think if anybody says normal types aren't S tier, they're lying. Because normal types are so good. There's just so many normal types. On top of that, I've not even mentioned the moves yet. There are so many good normal type moves. Or usable at least. Like we're talking from the lower end, we've got Slash. Better than Razor Leaf. You've got Hyper Voice, Tri-Attack, Double Edge if you have Rock Head's incredible. Hyper Beam's a good finisher move on the last Pokemon. Return Stab is one of the best moves in the game for just neutral hitting power. 102 base power, 100% accurate, and it's like 20 PP or something like that. It's really good. Stab Return is incredible. I think Normal's got a lot going for it. Oh, and Facade. Facade basically makes it, if you have Guts and Facade, you're going to kill everything. If you don't have Guts and you have Facade, you have a strong move that makes a bad situation better. So, no, I like Facade a lot. So yeah, no, Normal has a lot going for it. It seems kind of basic and like middle of the pack on paper, but it's really, really good. Really good. Normal type runners are really cool. Oh, Extreme Speed as well. Extreme Speed, love to see it. Probably more moves as well that I can't even think of. So yeah, S tier. Alright guys, next up we have Poison type. Folks, they're only good against grass types. And they're resisted by Poison, Ground, Rock, Ghost, and Steel. So one super effective, 5 Pokemon types resist it. That seems pretty crap, especially Steel, that's immune. What's the upsides? Defensively, you're pretty decent. You resist Fighting, Poison, Bug, and Grass. And you are weak to Ground and Psychic. That's decent. Like, being weak to Ground and Psychic is scary because they have some good moves. On average, like, Ground and Psychic are better offensively than Grass, Bug, Poison, and Fighting. But 2 weaknesses isn't crazy. And 4 resists is still nice. Also, a big thing is you're immune to poison. If a Pokemon has Poison Point, you're immune. If they Sludge Bomb, you can't be poisoned, you know, so on and so forth. So, a Poison type physical attacker has 1 less status to worry about. So that is good as well. In terms of Poison type Pokemon, what have we got here? Arbok, pretty bad. Muck's pretty good. Weezing. I had an incredible Levitate Weezing. Oh yes. Poison types also love the ability to levitate, get rid of one of their 2 weaknesses. I had a Levitate Weezing. I'm on 254 resets for Emerald, and it got me to the final Elite Four member. And I had horrible item RNG, so bad. Like we had no PP. We actually ran out of PP. It was horrible because we had just had so few. We got no elixirs that run. But besides, you know, I had a really good Weezing run, so that's kind of painted it a bit more favorable for me. That I honestly believe I would have won if we just had we got 1 or 2 elixirs. Oh well. You got stuff like Seviper, Swallow, kind of middle of the road. Crobat's the big one. 535 or 530 BST, really strong. Venusaur solid. Beedrill, hope you have pure power. Gengar, Tentacruel. Yeah, there's some cool poison types for sure. A lot of kind of crappy ones to be fair, but a lot of cool ones. Yeah, and the fact they can't be poison, I think poison type. It's either B or A. I think defensively it's A. I think offensively it's like C or D. So I think we'll probably put it in B. I like poison types. I think the fact you can't be poisoned is really good. Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty solid type. I like it. Okay, we're on to Psychic types. So Psychic, they are super effective against just Fighting and Poison. They're resisted by Psychic, Steel, and Dark. So that's whatever. There's a lot of Poison types and a fair amount of Fighting types, so that's not bad. But resisting Psychic, Steel, and Dark is... you can live with that. You can live with that, to be honest. Defensively, you only resist Fighting and Psychic, and you are weak to Bug, Dark, and Ghost. As we've said, Bug, Dark, and Ghost aren't incredible types for offensive like moves, so not the end of the world. And resistant fighting psychic is fighting's like whatever. Resisting psychic is okay. If a psycho boost comes your way, you are happy to see that. Probably about average on that, offensively and defensively. In terms of their moves, well, we've gone over them. Psycho boost, great finisher move. Don't want to use it before the last Pokemon though. Psychic solid, extra sensory is really nice for high PP, and then Psybeam's okay. So they've got a couple of okay moves there. In terms of Psychic Pokemon, we've got Alakazam solid. When you get moves for it, doesn't learn moves to level 16. Hypno's okay actually, its base stat total's fine. Unknown, ooh. Espeon's good, Wobbuffet's bad, Grumpig's okay. Chimecho's a bit crap. What else is here? Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime learns like 14 moves. Mr. Mime is pretty cool actually. Zatu's okay. Gardevoir's good. Claydol, I like Claydol. Yeah, Giraffrig, I like Giraffrig as well. Starmie's cool, but it doesn't learn any moves. Exeggutor is cool, but doesn't learn any moves. No, yeah, I think there's a fair amount of decent Psychic-type Pokemon here. Oh, Slowbro, Slowking as well, yeah. There's a decent amount of usable Psychic-type Pokemon, and Psychic Extrasensory are solid moves. It's either B or A tier. I think I'm going to put it at the bottom of A tier. Very bottom of A tier. I think he's going to sneak into A tier here, because I quite like Psychic and Extrasensory. That really bumps it up. But no, yeah, it's pretty solid typing. Alright, fellas, next up, Rock type. Super effective against Bug, Fire, Flying, and Ice. Fair amount of Fire and Flying type Pokemon, so and Bugs, so love to see that. Doesn't do well against Fighting Ground or Steel, which is, it's okay, I guess. It's not the end of the world. Defensively, you take half damage from Fire, Flying, Normal, and Poison. Resisting Normal is solid, and Fire and Flying as well. But Normal is really solid because there's just so many normal moves. However, the big problem with Rock types here is its weaknesses. It's weak to 5 types. Fighting, Grass, Ground, Steel, and Water. The scary ones there are Ground and Water, I suppose. I mean, all of them are scary moves, but yeah, that's a lot of moves to be wary of. And a lot of Rock type Pokemon, as we'll get into, are quad weak to things. And let's just get into that now. Defensively, not great. it's a mixed bag, I guess, but more, I'd say more negative than positive there. But yeah, no, a lot of the Rock types are quad weak to things like Kabutops, 4 times weak to Grass, and you got the Rock Ground types weak to Grass and Water. A lot of problems there with those guys. Got weak Pokemon like Sudowoodo and Nosepass. Yeah, Golem's gonna die. Omastar, Kabutops. Aerodactyl solid. Lunatone, Solrock are mid. Credilli's cool. Armaldo's decent. Shuckle is interesting. Yeah, Macargo's bad. 4 times weak to Water. Aggron's 4 times weak to Fighting and Ground. Relicanth 4 times weak to Ground. There's just so many 4 times weaknesses. Yeah, no, I think... And the moves as well, like the best... We've gone over it. Rock Slide. That's like your one move that you'll want to use. It's not great. So many there are good rock types, as we just said. Like Credilli can make stuff work, but there's just so many quad weak. I think it might even be D tier. Put like that. Yeah, no. There's only a couple of decent rock type Pokemon I really want to consider using. It's like Aggron, just get Levitate. You're still 4 times weak to Fighting. There's still problems. So, too many rock type Pokemon are flawed. Yeah. Or too weak, so unfortunate. Alright, next up we have Steel types, guys. So Steel type. Offensively, they're good against Ice and Rock. Not good against Electric, Fire, Steel, and Water. So this actually means that Steel Ground has pretty decent synergy, because 3 out of the 4 Pokemon, or types that resist Steel, are weak to Ground. And then hopefully you can hit Water neutrally, unless it's a Gyarados or something. Just get a Rock move. But yeah, no, it's decent, sizable resists, but you know, Steel combos well with Ground to mitigate those resistances. Defensively, I'm sure all of you know, it's incredible. So let's just list off the amount of resists: Bug, Dark, Dragon, Flying, Ghost, Grass, Ice, Normal, Psychic, Rock, and Steel. 11 types. Are you kidding me? There's like, what, 17 types in the game or something? Like, what the heck? So over 50% of the types you resist. And some of these are really common, have really common moves, like normal. So many moves. So many resists. It's crazy. You're weak. Oh, I forgot. And you're immune to poison. That's 12. Is that really 12? What bug? Dark dragon. Flying ghost. Grass. Ice. Normal. Psychic. Rock. Wait. Steel. Poison. Oh my god, there's 12. See, another upside is you can't be poisoned. If you're in Generation 2, the only way to get poisoned by a Steel type is Twin Needle poisoning you, I think. So, Steel type, incredible defensive utility there. Weak to fighting, fire, and ground. Fire and ground are the scary ones there. But you resist so many things, it's just a huge positive. But obviously, you're a Steel type. Steel type with Flash Fire. Steel type with Levitate. You're popping off. You're popping off. It's really good. Yeah, no, Steel's incredible defensively. And let's look at the Pokemon. We have Steelix. Pretty solid. Steel Ground, we said that was a good offensive type coverage. So if you get Steel, Stab Ground, you're popping off. Skarmory is incredible, only weak to Electric and Fire. I have run a Skarmory, got it to Gym 8. And then died. Mawile is bad, but if you get Pure Power, you're popping off, but it's bad, I'd say. Aggron is bad. Metagross is bad. Magneton's really only... You'd really only want to run that with Levitate. Fortress, Scizor, only really want to run that with Thick Fat or Flash Fire. There's not that many Steel types. And honestly, they're not incredible. And the Steel moves aren't incredible either. You got Meteor Mash. 100 base power, 50% chance to miss. Steel Wing, 70 base power, 90% accurate. It's not great. And then you got Metal Claw and Iron Tail, and it's like, don't use them at that point. It's not great, but Steel is so good defensively, and like I said, it's immune to poison and toxic and all that stuff. I think it's got to be an S tier. It's just got to be. It's a defensive beast S tier, but like offensively, it's the bottom 2 tiers. But it's just so good defensively. It's got to be up there. Alright guys, last type here, because we're not including Fairy, obviously, in Gen 3. I mean, if Fairy was, it'd probably be A or S tier. But, yes, last type. Water types. Good against Fire, Ground, and Rock. Resist to Dragon, Grass, and Water. Fairly balanced there. Defensively, we resist Fire, Ice, and Water. Respect. And we are only weak to Electric and Grass. So, Volt Absorb, you're popping off. Only one weakness. Oh, sorry, and you resist Steel. I was looking at the Gen 1 type chart. Yeah, so you resist Steel as well. So you resist 4, and you're weak to 2. That is really good. Yeah, no, defensively it's solid. Offensively it's solid. Water combos quite well with Ice moves. Only Water types resist you at that point. Pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. Very, very respectable. Way better than Grass. And defensively better than Fire. Or is it? That's about the same. But, yeah, no, solid. And there are so many Water-type Pokemon. You got the starters, obviously, Blastoise and all that. Golduck's solid, 500 BST. Kingler's okay, Dugong's okay. Kingdra is incredible. So Kingdra, we mentioned over with the Dragon types. Water Dragon, incredible combo. Only one weakness to Dragon types. Vaporeon's amazing. Gyarados, get Volt Absorb, please. Octillery's solid, 48 BST, that's usable. Wailord, yep. Milotic, incredible. Milotic's like better than Gyarados. It learns more moves and doesn't have the 4 times weakness. Huntail, Gorbis, solid. Love-Disc, top tier, as we all know. Love-Disc is incredible, guys. I could go on and on. There are so many good water types. It's such an abundant type. And the water moves, so the water moves are interesting. We talked about this near the start. If you get Water Spout, incredible. If you get Hydro Pump, oh, it's not great, but whatever. And you can't get Surf. That's a big problem. That's like the big thing sticking out with water types. If you could get Surf, this would be like double S tier. This would be top class. But you're likely to... Your best stab's more likely to be Water Pulse or Bubble Beam, which is okay, just not amazing. However, I think water types are so good, and oftentimes you don't have a runner that has stab anyway. It's like, I don't know. It's Like, missing out on Surf is definitely a demerit, but it's got to be an S tier still, considering just how amazing Water type is by itself, and a lot of high BST Water type Pokemon that learn a fair amount of moves. So that's the tier list, guys. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I wonder what you guys think. Hopefully I've not started a war in the comments. But yeah, again, thank you for getting me to 300 subs. It was a blast doing this, and I never said at the start of the video, but I'm recording this. I'm up in Scotland. I'm recording this at my parents' house. So that's why the background looks a bit different. But hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. We'll be streaming Kaizo Ironmon in the coming days, and so on and so forth. And I hope to do more edited video content. Not necessarily in this format, but more so like properly edited, not just like music in the background, trimming it down in places, but actually editing about Pokemon topics and branching out to other things. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day. Catch you all later.